Hi, everybody. Madison here with Health by Ratio. My team and I of licensed physical therapists, corrective exercise specialists, orthopedic movement coaches, and functional health coaches work together as a team to holistically support our clients virtually in getting not only out of recurring injuries and chronic pains, but moving toward their functional fitness and or athletic goals, whatever is appropriate for that client, whether that is an actual sport or activity that they're training for, or whether that's just being able to live an active life and garden and take and play with the grandkids and all that good stuff. We want to help customize programs for them that approach all facets of their health and get them moving back to full range of stable motion. So, in today's video, what we're going to be talking about is how to self assess movement asymmetries, because this is something that is so common and prevalent for those of us that are dealing with single-sided recurring injuries or single-sided pain. So like we're always having this bad hip, or this one knee is always giving us problems, or this side of the back, or this side of the shoulder, or whatever. And often we start getting zigzags where it's like, hey, this foot hurts and maybe this side hip hurts, and then all of a sudden that lower back is hurting and this shoulder hurts, and then up here, and we got this like kind of cross-body zigzag that ping pongs along the body. That's really, really common for most of us. And that's because of the way the body starts to compensate over the years. Sometimes these asymmetries were the cause of our injuries in the first place. Often these things stemmed from an injury in the past. We got into a car accident, we had like we stepped in a pothole, we had something that was a significant impact to the body, and then the body started compensating from it and after that. And then all of a sudden, other areas of the body got pissed off at us because they've been compensating for so long. And so these asymmetries are very frequently linked to these single-sided issues that consistently are irritating us. And this is something that we start correcting in our programs with our clients first. And whenever we're seeing range of motion asymmetries from one side to the other, well, actually, I should say first, if we see movement asymmetries, the next thing we're looking at is, okay, is there a difference in range of motion from one side to the next? Let's assess. What do the ankles look like? What do the hips look like? What are the thoracic spine, the shoulders, the neck, all that good stuff? And okay, where are they out of balance? And now let's get their body even. What mobility techniques do we need to do to increase that one side's range of motion? And then once we do that, how do we reteach this body how to move correctly? How do we reteach the central nervous system how to use this range of motion properly again? And that's where we're going to get more into corrective exercise, which we've talked about in other videos and all that good stuff. But in terms of assessing if we do have movement asymmetries, and then trying to figure out where they might be coming from, there's some stuff that we can do on our own. Now, there obviously, like we're gonna take a look right now at one of the things we start off with basically all of our clients, and even the people that aren't our clients. Like this is a pattern that I analyze with those of us that connect with us over our free consultation calls, which we'll talk about at the end of this. If you want to schedule a call with us, you have free access to us. We do this assessment with you and with a number of other assessments, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it yourself. But we're going to take the squat and a few other assessments. If we see any asymmetries in that squat, we're going to take a look at some other ranges of motion to see if that's where maybe our imbalances are coming from. But this is not the end all be all. Like the squat is very important. We do a lot of it every day. We sit down, we stand up, we squat down to pick things up, all that kind of stuff. But we also want to take a look at how we walk. And if we're running, definitely how we run. So we want to do some running gait and or walking gait at the bare minimum. We all walk. We want to at least do some walking gait analysis and see how the body is moving in that big pattern. Maybe we want to take a look at how we hip hinge, right? Because we also bend forward, we pick things up this way, we unload the dishwasher, we wash our face in the sink, all that kind of stuff. That's a stable movement pattern. We might want to look at how we get into a split stance or a lunge because we kneel down and we grab things this way or whatever. So there's other movement patterns that we want to take a look at than just the squat. But the squat pattern, for those of us that want to do some analysis at home, this is an easy one that you can do just in front of the mirror. Or even better is get your camera out on your phone, prop it vertically up, like just lean against a water bottle or something like that, prop it vertically up, hit record, and do a couple of these squats. And then you can just like grab your phone and watch yourself frame by frame. And you can go real slow, like just drag your finger along the video marker, and you can see each increment of how you're squatting, and then this is really easy to see. But otherwise, just stand yourself in front of a mirror, and you can kind of take a look at what's going on. So we're going to do an overhead squat here because this taxes the upper body as well. So we're not going to just look at the lower body. We want to see what's happening at the thoracic spine and shoulder, and if maybe that's a factor that's pulling on us on one side versus the other. So how we do this is we get hip width apart, toes pointed forward. A lot of times people like to squat with their feet turned out. That well, that's a different topic for a different video, but this is actually a compensation that kind of cheats out of what we need from the ankle. So let's test this thing appropriately. Let's get hip width apart, feet literally pointed straight ahead. Double check to make sure, because you might think, yeah, my feet are straight ahead, but they're actually like this. So make sure they're actually straight. Then we're going to get the arms totally vertical. So think like touchdown, field goal post kind of symbol. Bring the arms up. You want to try to get elbows straight, and your goal is to try to get your arms to cover your ears from the side profile. So they should be totally upright if you can. If you can't, well, then we probably have some thoracic and or shoulder girdle stuff that's going on. But that's coming in just a second. So we get into that overhead position, and now we're going to try to squat. And the goal is to at least get to chair level. If you can't, that's okay, but we're going to try to figure out why that you might not be able to with the follow-up range of motion test that we're about to do. But let's see it. Facing the camera or facing your mirror, you're going to squat down. Do your best to just keep those arms vertical, get as low as you comfortably can, and then come back up. If you're able to go past that 90-degree angle, even better. But we just want to see what you're naturally able to do. And what you're staring at is your feet. Can they stay straight the whole time? Or as you're squatting, does your foot or both feet tend to turn out to the side? That's one thing that we're looking at. Next thing we're looking at are our knees able to stay in alignment with the mid to outside of our feet? So as we're squatting down, are my knees staying mid to outside of feet, or is one knee coming in, or is one foot turning out and that knee going inside of that big toe kind of thing? So that's the next thing we're looking at. Now, the other big thing that we really want to key in on is, are our hips staying dead center? This is very common, and one of the things that we notice in probably about 90-95% of our clients when they first start with us is we have a tendency to shift our weight off to one side as we squat. Sometimes it might just be like a half inch to an inch. That adds up, especially if you're doing it dozens of times a day. Sometimes it's 2, 3, 4 inches off to one side or the other. Well, that's an even bigger impact. But you want to draw a straight line down your head, down the center of your body to the floor, and you're going to watch, is the center of my body staying on this line as I squat, or is it shifting off to one side? Am I veering off to one side of the body? Am I twisting this way as I go down, or shifting one way? And do it a handful of times. Like, you might be good for one rep, but what happens when you do 5, 6, 7, 8 of these things? When you start to get tired, do you start to shift to one side or the other? So that's a big one that we want to pay attention to. And then the other thing is, we're trying to see, can we keep the arms vertical? And if you are able to view this from the side profile, it's kind of tough if you're looking in the mirror. You could just stand next to the mirror and kind of squat looking to the side, but that can kind of kink the neck a little bit. This is really handy if you're recording yourself. So you can do some squats facing your video, then you turn and do a few of those same things from the side profile. And you want to see, am I able to squat and have my shins and my torso be parallel when I get to the bottom? So is this angle here and this angle here about the same parallel position? Or am I squatting where I'm leaning more forward as I go down, where shins are more vertical, but torso is more angled forward as opposed to this position? So that's the next thing. Are we able to keep parallel as we get nice and low, or are we angled forward as we're going down? So there's a couple of other things that we can notate and look at, but those are the big things. Those are the big things that we want to pay attention to. If we're not able to keep the feet straight, if we're not able to keep the knees in alignment, if we're not able to keep the hip center, if we're not able to keep the torso upright, then we have some imbalances going on at the body that are pulling us out of function where the glutes and the core are going to stabilize us the way we want to. We want those big glute and core muscles to stabilize us. That helps us from everything from the feet to the knees, the hips, to especially the back and all the way up to the neck. It's called the core for a reason. It impacts everything, and the glutes and the core might as well be called the same thing because the glutes are part of your core. So that is the main assessment. Now, if we're not able to do those things appropriately, here are a few tests that we can do to check out the ankles, check out the hips, and check out the shoulder girdle to see, all right, where are my low hanging fruits? Where are the things that I'm being impacted on? And it's probably going to be a combination of these things. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the ankles. So we want to see what range of motion do we have at the ankles. And so how I'm going to do this is I'm going to go up to a wall. You don't have to record this part of it. This you can just do, just do and pay attention to it. And you're going to get yourself about a half of a foot, half of one of your feet away from that wall. So, like, I have my right foot flushed up against this thing. I'm going to put my left foot right at the middle of my instep. So, I'm about half a foot length away from my wall. And now, what I'm going to try to do is see, can I touch my knee to that forward to that point, to that wall, without raising my heel up. I'm not letting that heel come up off the ground here. I got to keep that heel flat. And I want to make sure that as I bring this knee forward, that my knee stays in alignment with that middle of my foot. I'm not going to let this knee go inside of toward my big toe. If it starts cheating toward my big toe, then I'm compensating. I'm pronating at my ankle. I'm not really getting true ankle range of motion, the dorsiflexion that I'm looking for here. Don't worry if you don't know that term, but you're cheating. You want to try to see, can I touch that wall with my knee towards the mid to outside of my foot? And my foot is straight. It's not turned out to the side. That also would make sure that my knee goes in toward my big toe. So foot is straight the whole time, and I'm seeing, can I touch it? The back leg, we don't really care about. Doesn't matter what the back leg does. We're just caring to see, all right, can I touch that knee to that wall and come back up? Test that on both sides. Often you might find that one side is tighter than the other, or both sides are tight. Okay, well, that's low hanging fruit number one. That can be the issues with the calves, the Achilles, the plantar fascia line underneath the foot. All that kind of stuff can be tight and gunked up and bound up on us, and a couple of other things, but those are going to be normally the big culprits. Now, the next one we want to take a look at is our hips. And there are a few hip assessments that we can do, but an easy one that you can do at home, and especially if you have a tendency for your hips to shift off to one side or the other, this is an easy one that you can do and notate yourself. So grab a seat on a chair, something at about chair height. Don't be elevated up. You're not sitting on a stool here. You're sitting on a chair, and something firm. Like, try not to be sitting in like a couch where you're sloped down like this. And you want to be on the edge of that seat. So you're nice and upright in this position. And all we're going to do is try to cross one ankle up over the other knee. If you need to help yourself pull that leg up, that's okay. But that also can be a little bit of an indication that my hips might be a little bit tight. But try cross that ankle up over your knee and then sit as tall as you possibly can and see what position you're able to get this knee to without actually pushing down on it with your hand. Like, just let yourself see, how far can I open this thing up and what level am I up to, or what level am I down to? The goal is to try to be able to get this hip and this knee in alignment with your hip as you come in. That's good hip external rotation. If the knee is up here and we're a little bit tight, if the knee is way up into our chest, well, then we're really tight in this position. But now comes the moment of truth. We're going to compare this to the other side. So we're going to reset, and then we're going to switch that leg and then sit nice and tall and see, all right, where are we at? And you want to be specific, like you might want to find a marker along your shirt that can help you to determine where this leg is, but you want to get an accurate comparison, because what you're probably going to find is that one leg is down to a certain level and then the other leg is up just like a couple inches. It's also going to feel tighter, so it's going to be pretty like simple to be like, oh yeah, that hip feels a lot tighter. Well, if we have a couple inch difference, or we've had, I mean, with a lot of our clients that we work with, they start off with one hip here and the other hip's way up here. Like, they have a huge difference between one side versus the other, and they're getting big single-sided pulls there. But whatever it is, if you have an imbalance from one side to the next, that's causing you to shift your weight or contributing, I should at least say, to shifting your weight off to one side when you're squatting. Now, like I said, there's other hip ranges of motion we can test, but that's an easy one, and you can just do it looking in the mirror and seeing where this leg gets. Or, of course, you can record yourself if that's the best way for you to view this. All right, now we checked out the ankles, we checked out the hips. Last but not least, let's check out this shoulder girdle. So the shoulder girdle itself, you're going to probably want to record yourself for this, or you can have a partner watch you, because this is going to be something that you're doing behind your back, and you obviously can't look at a mirror behind your back. And well, actually, maybe if you're like in the bathroom and you have one of the mirror setup where you have another mirror behind you, and then maybe you can view yourself this way. But otherwise, get your phone out, hit record, and face away. And you're going to tuck your thumbs inside your fists. You're going to get your feet together here, and you're going to go high-low behind the back. You're going to try to get your hands as close as you can without the wiggle and worm. So, and it's both at the same time. So it's not like I swing one arm and then swing the other arm. What I'm going to try to do is go at the same time, go high-low behind my back. See what position I'm able to get my arms in. Am I, is this arm, this lower arm, is it past that 90-degree mark? Or is it down here somewhere, angled more toward the butt? That's a potential. I could be getting down and getting much tighter in my internal rotation. Is my upper arm able to get vertical here, or is it angled out to the side, or is it angled forward here? Am I able to actually get this upper arm vertical? Okay, so that's my two checkpoints, and then just do that. Probably do it twice. You can try 2 rounds to it. And then you're going to the other side and comparing the same thing. Am I able to get this arm past my 90-degree mark? Am I able to get this upper arm vertical? Or is there a huge imbalance? Is one side really open and the other side really tight? Okay, well, now we might have a shoulder girdle issue or a thoracic spine issue that's causing us to have an asymmetry, which then pulls on the core from the top down, which pulls on the glutes, which pulls on us sideways. So now we have another potential cause for it. And like I said, often, because of the way our body is connected through fascial lines, these big, long, connective tissue strands that run through the body, you'll often find that you're going to have multiple. You might have the right ankle is tight, and then that right hip is tight, but then the left shoulder is tight. It might be cross-body that way. That's really, really common. But these are some things that you can do yourself, and then see, all right, do I have some imbalances that are pulling on me? Is there a reason why I keep tweaking that hip, or I keep tweaking this side of my back over and over again, or why that side of my neck is always tight? This is going to help you kind of understand where some movement imbalances might be stemming that are impacting you on a day in, day out basis. Now, guys, if you are interested in getting some more help, if you want a full body analysis, not just the squat, or if you do this and you're like, man, I really want to understand what the heck is going on with my body, what specific tissues are tighter on me, and are there other issues that I might have in my walking gait or some other patterns that I'm doing? Well, that's what my team and I do, and we do it with everyone for free. We start off everybody, no matter whether they're a client or not, with 2 free consultation calls. You get to connect with my team and I. And first, we find out what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish, what your body's been through in the past, what your history is. And then after that, we connect over a video call where you and I go through a number of full body assessments. We take a look at this squat. We take a look at some of these ranges of motion. We also look at how you walk and how you lunge and how you hip hinge and all kinds of big stuff. We spend a good amount of time getting a full body work through to see where your imbalances are. Then I explain them. Then we talk about not only how your body's moving, but why it's doing what it's doing, and then give you some specific mobility techniques and exercise that you can do to get this thing moving back to full range of stable motion. We do that for free, and we'll attach our link to the bottom of this video, so you're more than welcome to click on that. It'll take you right to our calendar. You can pick a date and time that works best for you, and we'll be able to help you go through all these assessments and understand what's going on with this body, and it's our pleasure. So if you have any questions, guys, if you want us to cover any future topics, if you want us to dive into anything particular, feel free to also send us a direct message, an email back, whatever. We're here for you. We always like hearing suggestions for future topics. And outside of that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll talk to you guys next time.